all senators shall be silent or shall confer only in undertones. I think if we have been doing or observing these two orders, there wouldn't have been the need for him to come under the order he raised. But we have been working in breach of these two orders. So I call on my colleagues. This is the number one assembly in the country, the highest assembly. So we need to make sure that we do the needful during sitting. No noise, and if you want to say anything, go close to your colleague and confine undertones. Because the world, not only Nigeria, the number one democracy in Africa. In Africa. So everybody is watching. And whatever we do here is watched through live streaming. People in America, in the Caribbean, everywhere they are watching us, in Europe. And today is even live. Even when it is not live, it's seen everywhere. And people watch us. So please, let's, this is Hado Chamber. So please, let's kind of observe decorum. Let's do our things in line with our status as the number one assembly in Africa, not even Nigeria, in Africa. I so submit, Mr. President.
Yes. Your point of order, Deputy Senate President, is sustained. So please help the Chief Whip to help us. And like the Deputy Senate President said, if we were observing Order 9, 10, there would have been no need for the Chief Whip to come under Order 24. He's decided to invoke his powers to let you know that the fact that you are doing these things without getting permission from him is not correct. So both of them are right. So we must ensure decorum. Leader of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President, and very distinguished colleagues. The third order of the day is the screening and confirmation of the nomination of General Christopher Musa for appointment as a minister of the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in accordance with Section 147, Sub 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as altered. Mr. President, distinguished senators, in order to carry out this exercise in conformity with our standing Order 12 on floor privileges, I will move two motions. First, I move that the Senate do resolve into the Committee of the Whole to conduct the confirmation hearing. And two, I will be moving that we suspend the relevant provisions of Order 12 of our rules to enable us admit strangers into the chambers. The stranger now including the nominee and those who will be accompanying him, as well as the special advisor to Mr. President on National Assembly Matters, Senate. Finally, that if tallies with the wisdom of this hallowed chamber, let me say it again, that the preponderance of the screening be done in closed door session after the introductory remarks by the nominee. The nominee himself having been first screened and confirmed by the 10th Senate. Then, while seeking to assume office as the Chief of General Staff of the Armed Forces. That would be the purport of my motion, Mr. President. I so move.
Leader, please approach the chair.
to the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority, transmitting to you live Senate plenary from the National Assembly. Now, the Senate leader has just taken a motion to invite strangers into the red chamber for the purpose of screening exercise. Of General Christopher Musa. General Musa was appointed on during the resignation. Any moment, the special advisor, so the president on National Assembly Matters Senate, Senator Lado, will lead the delegation of the nominee alongside some other friends and associates that will be accompanying him into the chamber for the purpose of the screening exercise. Now let's give you a rundown on the profile of General Musa. He was born on 25th of December and he's now 58, a distinguished soldier who served as the Chief of Defense Staff from 20. He was born in Sokoto in 1967. General Staff Officer, Training and Operations at Headquarters 81 Division. Then the Commanding Officer, 73 Battalion. He also held the position of Assistant Director, Operational Requirements, Department of Army Policy and Plans, as well as Infantry Representative and member of the training team, Headquarters, Nigerian Army Armor Corps. In 2019, he served as the Deputy Chief of Staff, Training Operations, Headquarters, Infantry Center and Corps. He was also the Commander, Sector 3, Operation Lafia Doli, and Commander, Sector 3, Multinational Joint Task Force in the In 2021, General Musa was appointed the Theta Commander Operation Hadenkai and later became the commander of the Nigerian Army Infantry Corps before he was appointed as the Chief of Defense Staff by President Bola Tinubu in 2020. Coming will be the second time he will be appearing before the 10th Senate for the purpose of screening and confirmation. The last time was in 2023 after he was appointed as the Chief of Defense Staff, and today he's appearing before the Senate as the nominee for the position of the Minister of Defense. A motion has been taken to invite him into the chamber for the purpose of the screening exercise.
The Senate.
Mr. President, Electoral matters. Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, The minority leader had not stood up actually to second my motion because apparently we were not ripe for that. The special advisor to Mr. President on National Assembly matters is on his way with the nominee. So in view of that, Mr. President, I would move that we step down, we stand down the third order of the day to enable us take the fourth order of the day, which is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Capital Market on the sale of Lafarge Cement PLC to Chinese investors. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Izunaso Osita to move the motion for the Senate to receive and consider the report of the committee.
Well, first, the minority leader. Do you accept that we step down the item and move over to the next one? There are two motions there.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion moved by the Senate leader to step down an earlier motion that was moved. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that we do step down the confirmation hearing to enable the special advisor to get ready. Those in support of the motion say aye, and those against say nay. The ayes have it. Then please, Senator Izunaso, you have the floor on the capital markets.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Osita Izunaso. I represent Imo West. Mr. President, I rise to move that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the committee. The report of the committee on the federal government to halt the sale of Lafarge Cement PLC to Chinese investors in the
Well, Senator Izunaso, you move a motion to present the report. Was there any seconder? Senator Oju Sakalo may help you out. No, you have proceeded, Senator Oju Sakalo. Okay, Senator Jimo Ibrahim.
My name is Jimo Ibrahim. I represent
Senator Izunaso,
and I rise to support the motion moved by the presentation of the capital market report by the chairman of my committee, Senator Izunaso. Thank you, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that the report on capital markets be presented to us for further deliberation. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. You may proceed now to lay the report. Yes, you may wish to put just the synopsis and summarize the report.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will just go straight to the synopsis and the recommendations. Mr. President, the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, at its sitting on Thursday, 27th March 2025, deliberated on a motion to the Senate Committee on Capital Markets and Proceedings of Thursday, 27 March 2025. Mr. President, the committee, after an extensive deliberation with the major stakeholders regarding this motion, made the following observations and findings, which I'm going to be very brief on. Mr. President, following an in-depth and meticulous hearing session that involved key regulatory bodies as well as the Bureau of Investors from Hussein Cement, the committee has compiled a series of observations and findings. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, the committee's observations are aimed at ensuring that all aspects of this monumental financial move were thoroughly evaluated and understood. This will not only uphold to protect the interests of consumers and national economy at large. The findings derived from the discussions encapsulate the concerns, expectations, and strategic consideration pertinent to the substantial transaction with the contents of Nigeria's evolving market dynamics. In summary, Mr. President, the committee findings will serve as a fundamental reference as discussions progress regarding the future of Lafarge having transaction to the country. We therefore recommend that the Chinese and upgrade all the existing plants and to always adhere to all laws and regulations guiding such transaction. We so submit, Mr. President. But before then, we want to thank Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues. On behalf of the committee, I thank you for the attention and opportunity to serve you better. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, this is Dr. Zakalo.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Ojo Zakalo. I want to thank Senator Oster Izunaso for what he has done. Nigeria economy is an open economy, and we do not want to stop anybody investing in Nigeria. We need more foreign direct investments for people to come and invest. I do not see anything wrong in a company buying over another company. There is nothing wrong in that. So it is in order, Mr. President, under your leadership, that we are supporting foreign direct investment. And these are kind of investments we need. People in the world are watching. People in Africa are watching that Nigeria's doors are open for new investment under President Ahmed Bola Tinubu. So I want to thank my colleagues in that committee for sustaining the business environment and allowing the Chinese company to buy Lafarge. It is in line with our laws. I so support, Mr. President. Thank you very much.
Yes, Olamileko.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleague, Adeola Solomon Olamileko, representing Ogun West Senatorial District in the Senate of the
For example, yes, one before, but Lafarge will go to the market to get the actual market price, selling price of the cement, and sell it at that price. Now we were happy when we heard that Lafarge was going, but for all indications are even going to be worse than Lafarge. So me, I thought in that the idea of having an industry is to promote the development of Nigeria, to promote the development of the people. That is not done just because the law says this man should buy it. So somewhere in London or in Paris or in New York, they will do their transactions.
Food is ready.
Cook to impress.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah, constitutional point of order, Senator Nengi.
Mr. President, my name is Senator and I'm from Bauchi State, representing Bauchi Central. Mr. President, I will read this constitutional order and then you interpret it. The constitutional order is 88, section 88 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic reads thus: powers to conduct investigation. Subject to the provision of the National Assembly, power
Senator Wadada, they've just dropped your bag. If you are coming in, please come in. Stop disturbing. Senator Wadada, stop holding the meeting there. Chief, please. Senator Wadada, if you are coming in, come in. Holding meeting is stopping.
I will take it again. Section 88, and by your leave, I will read. Power to conduct investigation. Subject to the provision of the Constitution, each House of Assembly of the National Assembly shall have power by resolution published in its journal or in the Gazette of the Government of the Federation to direct or cause to be directed any matter or thing with respect to which it has power to make laws and to conduct affairs of any person, any authority, ministry, or government department charged or intended to be charged with a daily or Mr. President, before you interpret, this provision clearly spelled out the powers of the National Assembly. There is nothing under the earth, under this earth, as long as it's in Nigeria, that this National Assembly cannot investigate. Mr. President, there is no power, there is no one individual under the earth that is in Nigeria, whether business, whether government or otherwise, that the National Assembly cannot investigate. Mr. President, look at the history recorded by the committee, how these shares began and how it ended up. There is a public interest attached to it, and it is important that members take the report of the committee and read it thoroughly. And you could see the interests of the Nigerian citizens have been breached. The interests of Nigerian citizens have been breached. And it's important for people to acknowledge it. We can investigate anybody, anywhere, authority anywhere, regardless of whether it's business or not. We have severally investigated plans right from 1999. We've been investigating business concern, one after the other, business concern, as long as they are in Nigeria, they are in the Nigerian entity. So, Mr. President, I so submit.
Senator Lau.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name's Senator Isa Shoaib Lau, representing Taraba North. Mr. President, let me thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on this matter. Mr. President, if you can remember, just a couple of months ago, you appointed me as chairman of the Committee on Privatization and Commercialization. Mr. President, I have just started reading most of the transactions on the entities privatized by BPE. And some of the emerging scenarios are the fact that most of the entities are privatized without due process. And in the process, you can see some of them that are supposed to have a post-privatization monitoring are being exempted from post-privatization monitoring because of some of the procedures that are not right. Let me give you an example, Mr. President. A situation where you sold an entity, and the idea of selling that entity is to improve on the fortunes of that entity. You see, the core investors, they will take over the entities, bastardize it, cut away most of the important equipment and take it away. And a situation also where an entity will say, okay, I have taken certain percentage now, but for me to function, I need additional shares. And you come up with so many reasons that you will invest further so that you will boost the generating capacity of that entity. And in the long run, you don't put anything. They take over the shares of federal government remaining for public offers for Nigerians to participate in that entity.
Senator
Wadada, take it without no solicited bidding. One person will say, look, more sell it, they will sit on it, they sometimes go to the stock exchange, make more money, and invest nothing. They bought the shares on the pretext that, look, we want to invest billions and billions on this entity, but without having the largest share, we cannot do that. And when they are given the opportunity, they don't do nothing. So there is need to really go and check most of these privatized entities. We just started talking, writing small letters. And before you know, you see them sending senior advocates to write to us that we don't have right to investigate the privatization. We do. It's our constitutional right. It's constitutional. They must allow us to look into the private. motion on this issue very soon. And believe you me, you will weep and shout Nigeria.
Senator Ningi, your constitutional point of order is sustained. Distinguished Senator Lau, your submission is noted, and you are granted permission to come up with your motion on some of the privatized institutions. So we see how Nigeria has been shortchanged. We need to move forward, not take one step forward and two steps backwards. Leader of the Senate.
I'm actually rising to say that allow for a thorough investigation of the issues involved so that the Senate can reach a safe conclusion in overriding public interest. Thank you.
Well, the motion by the Senate leader is that we should stand down for the consideration of this report because of the divergent views expressed here, and so that the Senate if we stand down, we must take further steps. So is the motion seconded? Who is seconding the motion? Senator Garaba is seconding the motion, please.
Thank you very much, the Senate President. In view of the very high interest in this motion, particularly as some
your microphone. You don't have?
the Senate President.
Nobody's after you.
I hope you are not from KB State.
Thank you very much, the Senate President. My name is Senator Musa, representing KB South Senatorial District. I rise to second the motion ably moved by our Senate leader that this bill be stand down, this report be stand down so that further these sales of shares to Lafarge to a Chinese firm, because it has elicited a lot of interest. If 60 years ago we still have 16% and today we still have 16%, are we making progress or we are making retrogressing? So I so second, sir. Thank you.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded. Now that Senator Lalong has finished. Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded. Those in support that this report be stood down for further scrutiny by the Senate, say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Okay, so leader of the Senate propose the way forward. The report is stood down. But I think we should not just stand it down. We should set up a small committee to further look into the report and then revert to the Senate.
Well, Mr. President, this is one of those situations where it would look like we need to take extra step. Of course, there's a standing committee that is in charge of capital market oversight.
But that is the standing committee that brought the report.
Given the controversy surrounding this, I think there will be the need to further assist the standing committee by putting together an ad hoc committee, that can also look into this issue. But in saying that, I would say that as much as possible, the ad hoc committee itself should also even work with the capital market committee. But it's important that we have that committee. So that would be my motion, sir.
The minority leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I second the motion that an ad hoc committee be set up to look into the report and report back to the Senate. I say second.
Distinguished colleagues, the proposal here is that a small ad hoc committee of the Senate be set up to look into this report further, using this report by the capital market as a working document, and then further interrogate the transaction, and then revert to the Senate. Those in support of that say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Can you quickly, because they'll work with the Senate Committee on Capital Market, can you quickly give me the ad hoc committee and then let me announce it now so that we don't come back to this. And then we have a time frame within which they should bring back this report, using the document in front of us as a template, and then further interrogating the players involved.
So the Senate has stepped down further consideration of the report from the Senate Committee on Capital Markets following its investigation on a motion that was referred to the committee concerning the halt of the sale of Lafarge cement, that is the shares of federal government's share Lafarge cement, to Chinese investors. And the motion at the time it was brought raised concerns over issues of national security if such shares were transferred to foreign investors. Some of the lawmakers argued that Nigerians should have been offered such shares, should have been given the opportunity to first either agree to buy the shares or not want to buy these shares, instead of straight ahead offering those shares to foreign investors. And so that is the crux of the matter. The report has now been stepped down for all members of the Senate to take a look at the contents of the report from the Senate Committee on Capital Markets, which explained that due process was followed in the sale and transfer of shares of Lafarge Cement Company to Chinese investors. But the argument against it by those that brought the motion was that the interest of Nigerians was not appropriately protected in the sale of those shares. So the report has been stepped down. But taking us back to one of the key events of the day to take place inside the Red Chamber is the screening and confirmation of the newly appointed Minister of Defense, who is also the immediate past Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa. His delegation is already here at the Senate, and an invitation to allow strangers into the chamber, a motion on that has already been taken and seconded. So the Senate will, in a short while, conduct the confirmation screening. But from what the Senate President explained earlier, the screening is going to be conducted in an executive session, that is, in a closed session. But the nominee will be allowed to present his profile to the members of the 10th Senate. Remember, he was here in 2023 when he was appointed as the Chief of Defense Staff, and he presented his profile before the 10th Senate and was subsequently screened and confirmed. So today what we are going to witness is confirmation screening of Christopher Musa as the ministerial nominee of President Bola Tinubu for the position of the Minister of Defense. If confirmed today by the 10th Senate, General Christopher Musa will be the 5th Minister of Defense in Nigeria with a Theophilus Yakubu Enchuma, also a retired Army Lieutenant General. He served as the Minister of Defense from March 2014 to May 2015. Also in the roll call was Mansour Muhammad Dan Ali, a retired Army Brigadier General. He was Nigeria's Minister of Defense from November 2015 to May 2019. The 4th Minister of Defense with a military background that served as Minister of Defense in Nigeria was Bashir Salihi Magashi, retired Army Major General, who served as the Minister of Defense under the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari. Bashir Salihi Magashi served as the Minister of Defense from August 2019 to May 2023. And so today we await the screening and confirmation of Christopher Musa as Nigeria's Minister of Defense, having been nominated by President Bola Tinubu this week following the resignation of Badaru Muhammad.
Of the Senate Committee on Capital Market, and having listened to your distinguished senators, we have resolved that an ad hoc committee should be set up to work with the Senate Committee on Capital Market and come up with an acceptable position that the Senate will feel comfortable with. So the ad hoc committee, the chairman is Senator Abamoru, who is very cool-headed, and he has nothing to do with capital market. Former Minister of Interior. The other members are Senator Shaibu Isalau. We are trying to take at least one person per per zone. So Senator Abamuru will come from North Central. Senator Shuaibu Isalau will come from the Northeast. Senator Adegbomire, the chairman of Judiciary, will come from the Southwest. Senator Joseph Ipia will come from the South-South. Senator Abdullahi Yahya, our leader, because of his experience, and the senior Senator Tony Woye from the Southeast. They are to work with the Committee on Capital Market, clean up the report, and revert to the Senate with a much more acceptable position in 2 weeks. Yes. Point of order, Senator Wadada. Senator Wadada, proceed. Senator Wadada.
For a tasty meal, do not compromise. Choose Gold.
Use Terra Gold for the rich, consistent taste your loved ones crave for. Good for soups, stews, and jollof. Terra Gold. 1 cube, endless possibilities.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I stand to leverage on this order 10 on privilege.
Please read.
I had the privilege of pioneering.
Read order 10.
Any senator may rise at any time to speak upon a matter of privilege suddenly arising, and he shall be prepared to move without notice a motion declaring that a contempt or breach of privilege has been committed, or referring the matter to the Committee on Ethics and Privileges. But if the matter is raised in Committee of the whole Senate, the chairman shall leave the chair to report progress.
Yes, proceed.
I stand to leverage on this order to draw the attention of the President and my colleagues on my privilege. This subcommittee that has been created, I should be a member. Why I should be a member is because I had the privilege of pioneering the National Assembly Committee on Capital Market and Institutions in the history of the legislature in Nigeria. So anything Senator Yaro here can testify, Senator Ahmad Lawan can testify, Senator Abdul Ningi, who was the then leader of the House of Representatives, can testify. And so anything that has got to do with capital market and institutions in Nigeria, vis-a-vis the legislature, and so long as I am a member of the legislature, I have the privilege.
Point of order, sir.
To be a member.
Point of order, Mr. President. Point of order, Mr. President.
My order has to be decided upon before any other point of order.
He's on a point of order.
I'm on a point of order, and I have the protection of the
Senator Wadada, you were raising a point of order. Your point of order is on what? It's on your privilege.
On my privilege that I should be a member of this committee that you just created.
Okay, your point of order is noted. Yes, Leader of the Senate.
Just noted.
Mr. President. Microphone. Up your mind. Mr. President. Mr. President.
Yes, your point of order.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, our rules say you are the chief interpreter of these rules.
Yes, but point of order, what section?
I'm actually relying on the same point of order, order 10.
Order 10,
yes,
okay.
The founding fathers of the Senate and the drafters of this rule described certain things as privileges. There's a difference between a privilege and a right. That's one. Number two, our rules are also very clear that when the Senate has an issue and we are moving, for any member to revisit that, you have to come by way of substantive motion. So it was a disruption of our proceeding for distinguished Senator Wadada to have taken all the time that he took trying to make us to reverse ourselves without coming on by motion, by substantive motion, which he could have done at the next legislative
Your
day.
education and point of order is sustained. Leader of the Senate. Leader of the Senate. Next item.
Thank you. See? In breach of my privilege.
Yeah, it's not really right.
Mr. President, the second
report of the Committee on Electoral Matters.
Sir, we're ready to go on.
Holographic seal tape. This is to ensure you get the premium product from Big Bull Rice. Do not buy if the holographic seal tape is not on the bag or is broken. Big Bull Rice. Tasty rice nourished you.
Simon Bako Lalong, Chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of the report. Thank you.
Distinguished Senator Sylvian Lalong, you have the floor.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, Simon Lalong representing Plateau South. I rise to present the report standing in my name on the order paper.
Another one.
Yes? Some people will say they didn't see.
Yes, Senator Lalong.
Point of order.
Just a minute, please. Senator Lalong, you want to move a motion for your report to be presented. Have you moved the motion? Just move again, let people hear, because the microphone was not working.
Mr. President, distinguished Simon Lalong, representing the good people of Plateau South. and the Chairman, Committee on Election and Electoral Matters. I rise to move to present the report standing in my name on the order paper. I've moved. And I so move.
Senator Yaradua.
Thank you, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues. I am Abdulaziz Musa Yaradua, representing Katsina Central. I rise to second the motion ably moved by my chairman, Senator Lalong, that he be allowed to lay the report before the Senate. I so second, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that distinguished Senator Lalong, chairman of the Electoral Committee of the Senate, be allowed to present his report on electoral matters. Those in support that the report be presented say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. You may move forward to present the report now. So after you may wish to give us the synopsis of the report. Sorry, Senator Lalong, please, point of order. Senator Ningi.
Mr. President, my name is Abdul Ningi, and I represent Bauchi Central, Order 1B. And by your leave, I will read. In all cases not provided for in this standing order, or by sessional, or that are very important and that members are expected through the Electoral Act, the electoral bill before us, is a subject of 1.5 years public hearing. We agreed in that executive session that senators should be allowed to take the executive session to find out. Mr. President, was shared yesterday, and it's about one. In fact, I'm receiving my own today, even though I have a fair knowledge of this report because I'm a member of the Electoral Committee. Based on